Hello and welcome. We have been doing a series on water at Citizen Matters, where we've been doing articles on how we consume water, how we look at water as a resource, how we look at its distribution. And today we have with us Dr. Sachin Tiwale, who is a fellow at the Water and Society Program at Ashoka Trust for Research in Ecology and the Environment. Welcome, Dr. Tivade, and thank you for speaking to us. My first question is based on a paper of yours. You've spoken about wicked problem and a tame problem. So, what is a wicked problem versus a tame problem? And in the context of Mumbai, what do you mean when you say that officials convert uh, the former into the latter?
Okay. So when we talk about the wicked problem, so wicked problems are the complex problem which defies the concrete definition, and because of its complexity, it is very difficult to achieve the end goal. Even the end goal is not defined in case of the wicked problem. And it's a tame problem, are the problems which can be solved by the engineering disciplines or engineering knowledge, where we know the procedure, we know how to execute it. Though the problems can be complex, but they are doable because the knowledge to required to solve the problems is known. When we talk about the Mumbai's problem of the water access in the slums, it is not just about the that people do not have the adequate infrastructure and therefore they are not getting the water. It has multiple dimensions. It has multiple, for example, uh, it has also political dimensions, whether we want to give water to the people. For example, people with a certain ethnicity, people with a certain backgrounds are deprived in the city. It is also, since the Mumbai's water problem is also linked with the multiple problems, like it is linked with the poverty, which itself is a wicked problem, which is linked with the migration, which is another wicked problem. And therefore, just having adequate water, or by having adequate water, building new dams, we are going to address the problem of water. It's very unlikely in that
Hmm.
sense, because it's also water is also linked with the urban planning, and
Hmm.
urban planning itself is a very complex in a cities where we are the way we are urbanizing. The urban planning, which is a concept which is followed in global north, if you apply that concept to the cities in the global south, the nature of urbanization is entirely different. Therefore, the we are not adhering to the planning vision which we tend to believe in by having the adequate urban planning. So therefore, urban planning component also brings in wicked nature or complexity in the Mumbai's water supply.
So, what are the gaps and limitations in the methods and approaches that we currently use to estimate the demand and supply for the entire MMR region?
Yeah. So let's go one by one. I will talk with the Mumbai, because Mumbai consumes the major section of water in the MMR region. So when we talk about the how much is the water demand or how much water people need, then logically it should be based on a proper consumer survey or some
Hmm.
studies which tells us that how much people consume who belongs to the different socioeconomic status,
Hmm.
because we know water demand depends upon the socioeconomic status of the people. But in case of Mumbai, the water demand is defined by a particular, which we call as a per capita water supply standard. So what
Hmm.
Mumbai says the people who are living in the city needs 240, that is 240 liters per capita per day. And if you try to identify what is the rationale for this number, so there is a no rationale. It has been
Hmm.
taken from the 1994 Chitle Committee report, that is expert
Hmm.
committee report, which was formulated under the leadership of Dr. Chitle. And that report stated that we need 240 liters per capita per day, including all the citizens. That is, people who are living in slums, people living in high risers, everyone will need 240 liters per capita per day. And that number itself is problematic, and it has no rationale from where it has come. Because if you
Hmm.
see the CPHEO norms, that is the Central Public Health Environmental Engineering Organization, that is the technical wing of Ministry of that is central ministry. That prescribes the standards like 135 or 150 liters per capita per day for metropolitan cities. Though there are also certain issues. So this 240 number is quite problematic. That is first thing. Second thing, when we calculate the water demand for the city, we include entire all the citizens who are living in the city, and we multiplied with the number called 240. But
Hmm.
actually, are we giving the water to all the citizens with the 240 liters per capita per day? That is not the case, because in case of Mumbai, till around 2000, we were planning 45 liters per capita per day for the people who are living in slums. And today, we are for the planning purpose of the distribution network catering water to the slums, the per capita standard followed is the 100 liters per capita per day. But at the same time, we are counting the same people with at the rate of 240 LPCD when we are trying to build the water demand for the entire city. And accordingly, we construct the dams, or we put forward the demand for newer dams or newer projects, or like the project like desalination plant, which are in planning processes. And that's how this entire planning is based on a shaky number called 240 liters per capita per day. So that is one
Hmm.
aspect. Second aspect is that, are we giving water to all the citizens to whom we are counting in this? Because we consider the census
Hmm.
population while calculating the demand. But in Mumbai till 2014, Mumbai was not giving water to the slums which are non-notified slums.
Hmm.
The non-notified slums are slums where who are generally based on the central government land, like the railways, and people residing on this land, irrespective of the number of years. Mumbai was not providing the access to water. And second, non-notified slums are slums which cannot establish or provide the proof of residency before a particular cutoff date. Earlier, it was a
Hmm.
1st January 1995. Later on, it was revised twice, and it right now, I think, current date is a 1st January 2011. So people who cannot provide the proof of residency, they might be there, or they do not have the proof of residency. They do not get the water. This was the rule which was followed till 2014.
Hmm.
But during the same period, we were counting those people while we want to narrate that Mumbai needs more and more water. That's the kind of
Yeah.
narrative we used to construct, and based on the narratives, we used to build more and more dam for the city. If you look at the official number of the Mumbai Metropolitan Region 2021 plan, it says that plan says Mumbai receives 250 liters per capita per day, including its
Hmm.
entire population and excluding non-domestic water demand, and that water is quite significant. So
Hmm.
Mumbai, so the argument is that Mumbai already has sufficient water to fulfill its demand. The question is where that water goes once that water enters into the distribution network of the city.
Hmm. Hmm.
Mm.
So even now it is 240 per
Yeah,
liters per
capita per day. Currently, 240 liters per capita per day is followed by the uh,
by BMC.
corporation. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Does this affect the quantity of water that other regions in MMR receive because Mumbai is consuming so much of water?
Uh, yes, because in MMR there are other eight municipal corporations. There are some nine municipal councils, and there are some around thousands of villages are there.
Yeah.
And if you look at the entire water availability in MMR region, which is defined by, which is called as the Mumbai hydrometric area. This hydrometric
Hmm.
area was formulated around 1960s when we were planning the water for the Mumbai as well as the upcoming metropolitan region.
Hmm.
And since the initial during the initial phase, the entire Mumbai metropolitan region water demand was planned by demarcating Mumbai hydrometric area, and the idea was that we will the government will assess the water demand of the entire metropolitan region, assess the water, how much water is available in hydrometric area, and accordingly the water will be distributed to the entire Mumbai metropolitan region. And so there was a plan for having integrated water supply system. Individual water sources were allotted to various municipal corporations. So Mumbai was allotted with the Middle Vaitarna, also at that time Kalu and Shai Dam. And what happened in case of Mumbai, since Mumbai has a capacity to raise resources on its own, financial resources, Mumbai has in-house capacity and legacy of around 150 years of constructing its own dam. So Mumbai went ahead with constructing more and more dam, and therefore Mumbai could acquire larger share of water in the metropolitan region. And that
Hmm.
was not the case with the other municipal corporation. For example, Mira Bhayandar or Vasai Virar. Mira
Yeah.
Bhayandar water supply, I think per capita water availability as per the government report, it was around 100 LPCD. In case of Vasai Virar, it was 70 LPCD, 70 liters per capita per day. Though Vasai Virar is the municipal corporation. So since
Hmm.
uh, if you consider the Mumbai metropolitan region at its integrated planning, that's supposed to be done by the Mumbai Metropolitan Region Development Authority, that is MMRDA, and we see a lot of inequity exist between the municipal corporations. So there are inequity exist at layers. So when you see at the urban versus rural, so Mumbai metropolitan region vis-a-vis villages which are outside the
Hmm.
Mumbai metropolitan region, those villages are not getting adequate water. If you Google, you will find many news reports, especially in Shahapur Taluka, in Shahapur
Hmm.
block, where the constantly those tribal hamlets face the water scarcity routinely in summer months, and those hamlets are just next to the dams which are
Yeah.
supplying water to the city.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
water appropriation is existing at urban and rural scale. Within metropolitan region, the water appropriation exists where Mumbai acquires larger share of water, and where are Vasai Virar, like municipal corporation like Vasai Virar gets the 70 LPCD of water. There is Alibag which receives 40 liters per capita per day. This is MMRDA's report. And this
Hmm.
standard is in fact much lower than the even the rural drinking water supply system, where we say the standard is 55 LPCD. So this is within the metropolitan region. And third level of inequity which exists within the city of Mumbai, where
Hmm.
some households who are living in plum region accessing too much water, and there are slums, there are areas, there are studies shows that in some of these slums even people consume as low as 20 liters per capita per day. So this is inequity you see which is layered, which is operating at multiple scales.
Yeah. Yeah. The irony of it that people living next to the dams are actually not able to access
Yeah.
water. It's such a cruel irony. So, what are the gaps in official policy or development plans that we carry, that we use? What are the gaps which hinder this kind of equitable distribution that you are talking about, which doesn't happen? So what are the gaps which hinder this kind of equitable distribution?
There are gaps at multiple stages. First, when we prepare the master plan for city of Mumbai, or when we prepare the regional plan for the Mumbai metropolitan region, and in this regional plan there is a chapter on water supply. And if we
Hmm.
look at the content of this chapter, so chapter describes that water demand of Mumbai is so and so MLD. At present, supply is so and so MLD. There's a shortage of, let us say, as per the 2021 MMRDA report, the shortage is around 1100 MLD, and therefore Mumbai needs more water.
Hmm.
So, entire water supply chapter talks about the problem of Mumbai. And what is the problem?
Hmm.
That scarcity at the city level. So there are multiple such technical reports. They do not even recognize that there is a problem of water shortage, problem of low pressure, problem of inconvenient supply hours. For example, some of the locations within the city where water is delivered at 2 o'clock in the night, at 4 o'clock in the night, there are issues of the pressure, there are issues of the water quality. Water quality never reflects in any of these documents. So
Hmm.
the first problem is that we are not recognizing that these problems exist in the distribution network. There are
Hmm.
issues of
Hmm.
this supply, there are issues of the shortages, the issues of the low pressure, inconvenient supply hours, uh, unreliable supply hours. So there is a no way where these problems are documented, and therefore, as a result, since these problems are not documented, these problems never get recognized, and they never
Hmm.
get priority when you want to make a list of the problems, and therefore they never addressed. If you look at the regional plans or the city master plan of Mumbai water supply, it only talks about the water scarcity at the city level. That is
Hmm.
the situation is a problematized, and which demands a solution like now desalination, which we are going for, or the Damarganga link project, or Gargai project,
That
or
yeah.
Pinjal link project. So the problem is we are not even recording those, recognizing that problem. That is happening because we are not recording those parameters. For example,
Hmm.
you talk about the water supply. There are certain water supply parameters which any municipal agency who is engaged in the water supply management should routinely record. That is, we call it
Yeah.
service delivery parameter. That how much water is delivered to citizens, in which part, in each supply zone, what are the supply hours, what is the water quality, what is the pressure, what is the
Yeah,
frequency of the supply, what is the reliability of supply. These numbers are never gathered.
correct.
Unfortunately, in city of Mumbai, we do not know how much water is going where in the city, because there
Yeah.
are no bulk water meters. The domestic water supply connections are not metered, and since these numbers are missing, we do not recognizing the issues which are there, and since the issues are not recognized, they are not addressed subsequently when we are
Hmm.
planning for the
Hmm.
when we try to address this water supply situation in Mumbai.
Yeah. So we are looking at only water supply, scarcity of how much water, and only that too focuses only on Mumbai rather than looking at MMR and factoring in
Uh,
other factors also.
no, so MMR planning is done because in MMR, other municipality are doing their own planning.
Their own
This
planning.
in
Yeah.
the description which I told you, that is happening in case of the BMC.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
other municipal corporation, they are expected to do their own planning. Uh, but I would rather not comment on that because I have studied extensively Mumbai, which consumes
Yeah.
the largest share of water in the metropolitan region.
To what extent do things like leakages or other problems in the physical infrastructure which supplies water, the lack of maintenance of that or leakage, how much does that account for this so-called shortage of water that we have?
The leakages in Mumbai's water supply are substantial. They are uh, since there is no metering, where all household connections are not metered. There are no bulk water supply meters. There are supply zones are not isolated. So far it's very difficult to tell that how much are the leakages. As far as I
Hmm.
know, uh, the PMC's documents do not reveal the leakage number, which is determined following this procedure. The
Hmm.
estimated or guesstimated leakage figure is 30 to 40%, which is
Hmm.
quite significant. Because
Yeah.
if we bring down the even leakages, let us say from the 40% to 30%, that gap itself is a quite substantial, where we can avoid the construction of a new dam.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yes.
if you take the current water supply is around 3750, that is 3750 MLD,
Hmm.
and even we could save only 15% or 20% of that water, which is or 10% of that water saving in terms of the uh, reducing the leakage by the 10%. That itself comes out to be 3 to 400 million liters per day, which is a capacity of a typical dam. For example, Middle Vaitarna Dam has a capacity of 455 liters per 455 MLD.
How can this kind of equity which is lacking, how can it be um, ensured? I think part of it you spoke about how we need to consider not just supply but pressure and quality of water, how much each zone is receiving. Other than that, what can we do to ensure a more equitable supply of water in Mumbai?
What we need when you look through this whole issue from the policy and governance point of view, uh, there is no accountability of the municipal water supply towards its citizens.
Hmm.
For example, municipal whether it is when municipal corporation is there, so municipal corporation should be held accountable to provide universal access to all,
Hmm.
and accordingly accountability measures should be there, right from the hydraulic engineer who is heading the department to the junior engineer who is working on the
Hmm.
ground.
Hmm.
And this accountability needs to be established. Every ward in the city needs to be informed to all the citizens that what is the coverage of water supply in that particular ward. Coverage means how many number of households are formally connected to the water supply. What is the
Hmm.
pressure at the terminal end, that is at the consumer end. Uh, what are the supply hours every day? What is the water quality? Means ideally, Mumbai says that department says that department is routinely collecting samples from the distribution network and also sometimes from the households, and routinely
Hmm.
checks the water quality of that sample. But where is that data?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Where is that data? That data should
Yes.
be available on the portal,
Yes.
where I can go and check what is the water quality which is delivered today. in my ward or in my locality, I should able to check it. So we need such a kind of accountability mechanism and the transparency in the data about the parameters which determines the kind of service which is delivered to the household at the doorstep. So this
Yeah.
information needs to be collected. The person should be hold accountable for not providing the service as per the standard parameters.
Yes.
And BMC should take this, means some BMC should be made accountable for providing the services. That
Yeah.
accountability is missing.
Yeah, there's lack of transparency where data is also concerned. Like you're saying, if they're doing testing, then let us see what are the results. Or like you're saying, there's no data on how much is getting lost because of leakage, or there like other data they're not putting. How are they reaching this number? This particular number of how much needs to be supplied. How are they reaching that?
Yeah.
That kind of data is also not available. According to what I found out recently, the demand for water is not even it's reached 4,000 uh, mld, if I'm not wrong. And that's the latest figures that they gave me last month when I went. And they are claiming that now they're giving 150, not 240. Is that have they changed it recently from 240 to 150?
At least I have not come across a document which says 240 to 150. I'm referring to the all the project documents where the uh, dams and the, for example, Damanganga linking project or Pinjal project were justified. All these reports still says that they
Still say that it is 240.
40 liters per capita per day.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
when the department says has gone more than 4,000 mld, then they
yeah,
should give us a breakup that
correct.
how much is the breakup, because we know now the population. Yeah, there is a lack of data because our last census was in 2011, but we
Yeah.
can definitely estimate because the last 2011 census even showed that the rate of growth of Mumbai is decreasing. Population has increased, but the rate of growth has decreased in 2011 census for Mumbai. Now
Hmm.
more growth is happening in the other metropolitan region. For example, Vasai Virar, Mira, and other outer parts. So Mumbai is saturated now. So in terms of the
Hmm.
population, also there is not much increase. Also, all major water consuming industries we have shifted outside Mumbai long
Yeah,
back.
yeah,
So
yeah,
we need to
yeah.
know what is the water demand they are talking about.
Do you think the Gargai Dam it can be avoided altogether? I mean, I know they said that they're waiting environmental permissions and they will build it, but and they're justifying it saying there's more of a demand. We need that water. Uh, is it an absolute necessity considering how much of biodiversity is going to be affected by it?
So not in fact Gargai Dam. In fact, desalination plant. They have. I think the tendering process was going on for initial 200 mld capacity. They increased to 400 mld. We need to question this before that. Before spend, because on these dams, on these desalination plant, we are spending thousands of crores, if not hundred. So my only suggestion would be, before spending that amount, let us conduct a detailed consumer survey in city of Mumbai,
Yeah, yeah,
that how much of the people are there, how many people are connected to the water supply network, they belongs
yeah.
to the which socio-economic strata, what is their water consumption. Let us monitor that consumption, let us for 3 months, 6 months, to understand even seasonal variation, and collect the data first. Then we'll come to know what is the reality, instead of fixing the everything to 240 as a magic number.
Yeah.
And this will not cost much. Conducting a citywide survey will not cost much. Definitely cost much lesser than these hundreds and thousands of crores we are trying to spend on this large capital intensive infrastructure. Let's first
Yes.
do that. Then we'll come to know what is the reality.
Yes. I think the desalination, from what I understand, that's what they told me last month. The desalination has been scrapped because apparently no, they put out tenders thrice, and then no one really took it up. Is what that department told me last month. So, but Gargai definitely they said that we are awaiting permissions and from the concerned departments, and then they'll go ahead with it. Is what.
So I would
Scarcity.
respond with the 2 points. First of all, even the when the desalination was in a discussion,
Yeah.
it's a simple question. We know that distribution network in Mumbai is quite old.
Yes.
Infrastructure is aging. It's a decaying. There are issues of this sewer water getting inside the pipeline. And when you know this is a condition of the distribution network, what was even rational at that time to
Yes.
desalinate water at very high cost, the unit cost will be very high, and putting that water into the distribution network of which we cannot take any guarantee.
Yes.
What was the logic
Yes.
even at that time?
Yes.
That is a
Yes.
simple question. There is
Yes.
no rocket science and there is not too much engineering is involved. Second part, if Mumbai wants to construct a Gargai dam, the second question is Mumbai already constructing number of sewage treatment plant,
Hmm.
and the commissioner has already stated that they are going to get, I think, more than 2000 MLD from these sewage treatment plant. Then if that water is going to made available even for the non-potable purposes, it means we should be able to reduce our demand on the dams.
Yeah.
And so on one hand, we are constructing STPs with the thousands of crores, and still we are going for a new dam. Then the question is, what was the purpose of the STP?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, STP
Yes.
was required to ensure that we are not polluting the coastal region. But there was there was a provision. At least commission was saying that they are going to get the water which can be used for other purposes, which it means we can reduce our demand. So
Yes.
that is one thing. And last point, which you have not asked, but I would like to contribute from my end,
Yeah.
is the current issue of water tanker strike.
Yes. Yes.
So I would like to comment. So my simple question is, so far. Uh, Even the presence of groundwater was not recognized by the experts and the municipal corporation. It's all the documents. You pull out the
Hmm.
documents since last 30, 40 years, which were estimating the water demand of the city and which were estimating the water available for the city. In none of the document, it acknowledges that groundwater exists in the city.
Hmm.
We publicly came to know the huge dependence on the groundwater. As a researcher, we were aware about, but we came to know when there was a strike. I think, if I'm not wrong, it was February 2023. There was
Hmm.
a first strike by the Mumbai Tanker Association.
Tankers. Hmm.
They went on a strike, and all the tankers are taking water from the ground, from the aquifer,
Hmm.
to borewells which are owned by the society or some other owner, or they have their own borewells. So at that
Yes.
time, it was formally recognized that there are many areas in the city, including the Mumbai University, also some localities in Nariman Point, where depending on the water tanker. So
Yes.
and again, so this water tanker issue has came into discussion again. It means significant amount of water tanker exist. It means there is significant dependence on water tanker, and all these water tankers are on strike because they don't want to fulfill the particular demand of the Central Groundwater Board. It means they are acquiring all the water from the borewells. It means there is a substantial amount of groundwater exist. So where is that calculation? So
Hmm.
what is the take of the BMC engineers on that? Has BMC aware about that? How much? What is the aquifer? What is the nature of the aquifer? What is the water quality? Perfectly fine that that water will not be used for the potable purposes, but we have significant non-potable water demand that can be
Yeah.
fulfilled from the aquifer. Before going for a Gargai or any new project, we need to ask question: what is the our dependence in aquifer, and whether we are going to account that water in the total water supply of the city, and what is happening with the water which BMC is planning to claim from the sewage treatment plant.
Yes, yes. In fact, just yesterday I had gone for a walk which traces the history of water in Mumbai, and the person who was conducting it, he reached Dhobi Talao near Metro Cinema, and she was showing us those green pipes coming out of buildings where these old houses they have these wells, and these tankers come. We saw it, those tankers come and take, so she was telling us that, see, this is what happens, they take the water and they sell it. People in the building, they sell it, although they are not allowed to
Yes, sir,
legally
sell it.
sell the water in the commercial purposes, but they sell the water to these tankers. And In fact, BMC is doing more and more concretization in Mumbai. I Water is not how is it's no, they are not considering that source at all, groundwater. So thank you so much, Dr. Tiwale, for speaking to us. Thanks a lot.